Welcome to Nightcap. I'm doing it remote again because I ended up going over to a friend's house doing some scripting stuff. So, look, I don't have a lot to say. My feed was filled with the same shit yours was filled with, which was the Will Smith saga. People asked me what I thought about it. Obviously, violence isn't condoned. I do understand and sympathize with somebody feeling like they have to protect their dignity or whatever, but look, that shit's fucked up. I don't have anything to say other than it's also telling to see how people are like, I'm Team Rock, I'm Team Will. I'm like, that's so fucking silly. It's so fucking silly to be like that, thinking about that in such a simplistic way. People are binary. Like, I just started like snoozing people. Like, all right, look, I started the fucking meme right now. I started the meme shit, posted a couple things, got into some comments, but it's so fucking stupid. Here's a couple points I'm going to make though about it. And that is, we put these folks on a pedestal. I will say that when Tiger Woods had his fall from grace, if you want to call it that, um, he I remember there was a tweet from a local person who is politically affiliated, and at the time I was working in a place where I didn't really have this freedom to say whatever I wanted. And so this happens, and this person, declares on Twitter that Tiger Woods owes everybody an apology. And I thought that was bizarre. And I think that's the same thing with Will Smith and Chris Rock. Look, they're people. They say things. Of course, when you're punching down, Chris Rock's comedy punches down. Eddie Murphy punched down on homosexuals. You could talk about all that stuff. Dave Chappelle on trans. This was a direct hit on somebody who's going through something. You can sympathize with that. You can sympathize him making a joke. It was a roast. But you can also sympathize with the fact that Will Smith's living with this person who's going through this shit. And of course, he's been hearing all the stuff of his wife's infidelities and her talking about him sexual on her little show. So he's frustrated, and I'm not suggesting it's justified. But all these things are nuanced. And so you have people going, well, team this or team that. It's funny. Look, I jumped in early on, then towards the end, I'm just like, all right, this is like weird. This is like oddly weird. I mean, it was like it traumatized people or something. It's like, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. Seriously. A man slapped somebody else. Like, act of violence, sure. Assault, sure. Um, you know, considering the fucking, like, Israeli Palestinian fucking shit going on, the Ukraine war, fucking homelessness. People don't trip about fucking homeless people dying, locally. So it was the fact that it was celebrity, and then and this idea that they're supposed to be these perfect role models. I made the comment that, I guess a role model is, to me, really is somebody that you look up to for a particular skill set. So if you're looking up to somebody and you think that they're not going to have other facets of their personality or identity that you're going to know about, you're fooling yourself. They're not going to be a role in every situation. And as a family man that was going through something that none of us can relate with, none of us have that public persona. None of us even know that. I made the same case for Michael Jackson. No one knows what the fuck it's like to be famous at fucking like 4 years old or whatever. So there's no like psychological game that you're template that you're working from. So anyway, look, not justifying violence, again, should have held restraint, but again, knowing the pressures that as a black man he's feeling, knowing, hearing this stuff said about him, that also this issue with Jada and her hair, it's all this kind of melting pot where he's at home hearing her pain and he's in love with her and blah blah blah. So you can paint this romantic story to justify it. It doesn't justify it, but you can understand why a human being could break like that in a public place. And if you saw the unedited version, it wasn't, some kind of stunt. So the things that, just a couple quick takes. I'm going to get back on the road and get home because I'm exhausted. One of those days I start my new job. Don't worry, it doesn't mean I'm going to cut off. You know how Mondays and Tuesdays are. I'm always doing the cinematography stuff. So it just so happens that those are days where it's kind of iffy, depending on when these guys want to get together. So anyway, my point is a couple stupid takes. First of all, no, he should not get his fucking Oscar taken away. Fuck that. I know it was in the Oscar building. There's history of crazy shit happening there. I'm not suggesting it's okay. No one gets stripped of. Come on, there's way. I mean, you got fucking child molesters with multiple Oscars. Come on, Woody Allen. You got all this stuff going on. They're allowing it. This was a black man beef, whatever, who cares? It doesn't even have to do with race. It has more to do with his kind of dignity. That's what he felt he was defending, at least. Again, not justifying it. But so, my take on this is that it was assault. It was not warranted. Although I understand, I'll be honest with you, in my youth, I slapped motherfuckers. And I made this argument in my inbox. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not condoning violence. When I'm my youth, I'm also not condoning all the stuff I did in my youth. But one of the things I remember thinking is there was a time when I punched somebody and I wanted to hurt them. And I got fucking arrested for it. Okay. And I hurt them and it was bad. There are also times where I didn't want to hurt the person and I open slapped them. And so my only argument to justify there was some restraint there is that he could have fucking knocked him out. This idea that Will Smith couldn't have just, you saw that pop. It was quick. There was power behind that slap, but a slap doesn't take somebody down. And so there was restraint. So these are nuanced things that people are going to get pissed off about and suggest that by me talking about it, I'm condoning violence. And even looking at my comments today, I'm not condoning. Look, I understand it. I don't condone it, and it wasn't warranted. It was wrong, and he should pay the consequences. Look, actions have consequences. Whether or not you can sympathize with his plight or not doesn't change the fact that there's going to be consequences to it. So it's a nuance that people don't want to get, and that's why you see this Team Rock or Team Smith bullshit, and I'm just like, come on, seriously. Come on. I mean, what the fuck is this? Like, really? Every single thing's got to be this divisive. It's way more nuanced than that. Of course he's angry. Then some people are telling me in my inbox that he's broken and he's a lost soul. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. All of a sudden, have this window into somebody's history. So, like I said, I don't know if I finished the Twitter thing, but basically I've been consistent on this. People deserve to have a certain amount of privacy. They also deserve to have some consequences for what they say, especially if they're punching down or it feels like they're punching down on a demographic or a person. Dave Chappelle, same thing. He has the right to say. He's a fucking comedian. Not saying someone should have went up there and smacked him, but I'm saying, like, he had no remorse or even understanding or empathy, even though, these comedians, they feel they're good at punching down. I'm not saying he's not funny. I fucking love Dave Chappelle. Think he's great. He also is, good at satire. Great comedian. Not hating. One of the greatest, right? One of the greatest. But to not be able to talk about this stuff with nuance is difficult. And so Facebook was just a disaster for everybody today. No matter where you were, if you didn't follow the story was in your feed. Twitter was the same way. Twitter's obviously, depending on who you're following, you did get war, but again, it was still, everyone had to throw an injection. So after a point, you're like, all right, you think every take is taken, right? But here's the thing. The truth is, like, our celebrity worship, our idealization of these folks as role models that are kind of comprehensive. You look at Christopher Columbus. You motherfuckers, we motherfuckers threw a fucking holiday for a murderer. Ben Franklin was notoriously, salacious with his women, and so, like, you got all these crazy things that we hold these people in high esteem. History remembers their in the past, when men were writing the history, that we remember their good things, and some of that stuff was buried. So we don't really see this whole comprehensive human being. Or even when history is taught, it's taught from a perspective that doesn't really tell the true story of what was going on. And so that's a whole nother battle that's going on we could get into. But my point is that this hero worship and this idealization of these folks, we're always going to find failure when they fuck up. And when we realize that they're human, a lot of folks suddenly just have no grace. Look, and you have to look at the victim of who this was. The chivalrous perspective, you can call it, would say that, he's living with Jada, and Jada's hearing this shit. She's, black women dealing with their hair and stigmas that surround it. If you don't know, you don't know. But that's an issue, and Chris Rock knows that. And so this was a sensitive issue for them. And so you just kind of have to walk around the room and spin the globe and say, all right, what's the real thing here? That's the real thing. It's not Team fucking Rock. It's not Team Smith. It's not Team Jada. It's fucking like, hey, you know what? It's not fucking that. It's more complex than that. It's about, like, real people real having kind of putting themselves out there. We've got this 24/7 thing. We're watching shit happen at an event that normally is reserved for this, upper crust white kind of pageantry that happens in the fucking film and industry, and a lot of it's politics. I'm not going to get into it because all my film people are going to hate me. But my point is that so it was rich people versus rich people airing their problems out in a way that was childish and toddlerish. But certainly I didn't watch any of the Oscars. I did not. Come on, what the hell am I going to do with the Oscars? Like, it's just to me, there's no interest in that. I like film, I love movies, but I'm not going to, like, I don't need them to tell me what the fuck a good film was. It really means nothing to me. If I was in the industry, I would care, right? So the whole thing is like this. Wow, okay, this event happened. But the stupidest take from that perspective is that it was all fake. So there's people on my timeline that are like, well, I'm think the whole thing was staged. I'm like, come on. I like their posts just because I'm like trying to be like politically correct on this one because look, you have a lot of folks too that are coming from a perspective of privilege talking about this shit. And it's like, fuck, about it. Like, yes, there's angst there. There's a lot of angst that goes on when you're the victim of this systemic stigma against black women's hair. Then when you lose it for whatever reason, autoimmune reason, then you become sensitive. He's living with that. He's going through, so you start to see why if the next motherfucker that opens his mouth about your hair, I'm going to punch in the face, this kind of bravado. And you could say it's toxic masculinity. That's what all the liberal white people are calling it, toxic masculinity, because black man gets angry, it's toxic masculinity. And of course, threatening violence is bad, but I'm not saying he even said that. He was just like, I'm at my breaking point. And so, of course, we know white people and like how they handle violence. There's none. So we can stand it. They certainly have a position to stand on. Fuck that. But the point I'm making is that there's even this racial component, whether you want to call it or not, like of the angry black man on display. And you have other motherfuckers, other black people saying, this did us all wrong. This put us all back. No, it didn't. It put Will Smith in a position. I'm not fucking taking Will Smith shit. I'm not taking it. And so if you think that that reflects on me, fuck you. You really not my people. I mean, not even someone I really want. I don't think is going to ever get the mission of what I'm trying to do, to be honest with you. So if you can't understand that when somebody else does something, whether they look like somebody else or not, that reflects on the entire population, like that's really the core of what we got going on in a lot of places. But again, you're probably like not a reachable person if you can't get over that basic concept on any level. And so, again, people don't want to talk about that stuff, and you have all this stuff. And look, it's overbearing. It's a slap. It's a weird thing. It happened in public, and so it was an event that's like held high esteem by the elitist and the fan club and all the stands that are out there watching this dumb shit. But again, no, I mean, again, I'm as a film person, I love film, but I'm just not a fan of the pageantry behind it. Like the whole Oscar things is weird to me. Really is. It's like bizarre. Because it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with whether people are like the film or not. In many cases, I don't care. I'm just my opinion. Anyway, so as I ramble on, again, it's just that was what the feed was full of. I did my Twitter kind of boost, looking for kind of content, trying to figure an angle, but it's like nothing is coming through other than this people with these bad takes and all this bullshit coming from people that are like, not even hitting the main issue here, that it's not about team, it's about human interaction and kind of the real situation of what it going, and there's nuance to it. These are the things that you would talk about if this was a bunch of white people that happened to, like a white person slapped him and there was this, it was somebody that had cancer and he just got fed up. You'd be like, well, his wife's got cancer, is this, there's be all kinds of excuses were made, and there's all kinds of like blight coming down on both sides of this for the reaction to it. And instead, you've got this added component of racial, kind of like kind of a stereotypical, this viewpoint of just the angry black man that kind of hovers and clouds over the whole thing. So that's something that gives people initial gut reaction as well. And so, it's like that's the nuance to it. So if you posted I'm team Smith or he's dumb, or Chris Rock's and he's wrong, and I'm Team Rock because and I'm Team whatever. If you're like picking on Team Jada, if you've decided to slice it up, whether in the thirds or in half, ugh, come on, remove the post. You're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to I kind of have a little because of that whole racial animus. I'm not taking the shit for Will Smith, but I will say you're the fucking. That's the reason why I'm feeling a little bit of you know any kind of light would shine or reflect on me is because of your dumbass. Sorry, but anyway, so look, it was crazy. It got the Oscars attention. Everyone talking about it. Will Smith's a meme. He's gonna be fine. Even if they take his Oscar away, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be fine. His family's fine. They were supportive. They understood. He apologized. But boy, man, you can see how quickly people are ready to jump into teams. Like right there. Tribe, 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 tribe. I said it. Like I said, as much as horrible it is, I in my youth I have smacked a person, not a female, a male, in the heat of battle. Warning shot, and the person kept on talking. And so, that's like that's the only thing that I think that people you really want to say he could have knocked him out, and he didn't, and he should have never touched him, first of all. But again, when you're kind of going down to this nuance level, you have to say, all right, was there any kind of effort to harm Chris Rock? And I don't think there was. That's my point. It was to emasculate him and just kind of make him go, all right, you're my bitch. You're talking about my woman. I'm going to make you feel less of a man and smack the shit out of you. So, and it does harken back to a day of women beating, maybe. I don't know. I'm fucking way off the reservation now, but oh, I shouldn't even say that. That's horrible. Jeez. Anyway, you get my point. I'm gonna claim comedic license, and people can just be mad and cancel me. But anyway, I apologize if that offended anybody. That's all I say. Uh, so look, tomorrow I will be back. I'm working on playing around with this new place that I'm working at and checking out their. I haven't even been in their studio, but so there might be some creative things I can do from there too. So you may see me in some new locations. This is the year of experimentation. I'm still doing it. Do not worry. I'm not fretting. Don't fret that I'm going to stop doing this once I start working, because, again, this is why I'm working, to make sure I can do more of this stuff and kind of fund this thing and get people in place and all that stuff. So, anyway, forget Will Smith. Tomorrow, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to do anything on any social media platform. I'm not going to touch it just because it's over with. It's done to me. And yeah, there's, this whole, oh, that was the other bad take I forgot to talk about is, people are like, I got to process it. It's going to take me a couple weeks to process this. I'm like, it's not. What do you mean it's going to take a couple weeks to process this? It fucking was an instant. Why do you have to process it in weeks? Like, really? What are you going to do? Mull on this shit? Oh, disgusting. This is like from celebrities, both, kind of, it was mostly women celebrities posting some dumb shit because they felt like they had to say something, I guess. I don't know. There was also a lot of, the normal mansplaining going on from the white crowd. But again, there were black people who were offended too. I'm just saying it was just interesting to see kind of how quickly people were willing to go lay their opinion out there. People interacting with my page I haven't interacted with for a while. Always is a tale of how something's triggering people a certain way, because I kind of use that as a metric. So yeah, I can see when I have a post like that and a lot of different people interact with it, you can tell that it's causing some kind of ruckus. And I don't like to just pry and pull at that, honestly, because that doesn't do any benefit. It doesn't further the conversation. It just makes people kind of polarized. So my go-to is yeah, there's other people that agree with you. But this is the outlet where I'll actually tell you my opinions. Don't expect me to fucking get into a thread of argument with you on something that's so nuanced when you're kind of minimizing it to this trifecta or weird tribal stupidity. Anyway, all right. Well, listen. With that being said, always same gratitude. People are sticking with me. I got another subscriber. I haven't even pushed a blog yet for this week, or I don't think I pushed one last week either. So I'm a little bit behind, but you know the deal. You know I crank it out when I need to, and I just want to say thank you. So thank you to those who listen to the sometimes Bialik tone and my harsh words that make a statement. I'm trying to fucking make sure that people understand like things are complicated. We got to start thinking. We can't just put ourselves in a box as soon as we run into some weird situation. People are just like, I'm team this. It's like I gotta fit in here. Where do I fit in? Run around. And then you got the people who are like, I don't care. And now you have issues that we need to talk about that people have now boxed themselves into just positions that are just untenable if you want to actually solve problems. So all right, that's all I got for today. Thanks again. I will see you guys tomorrow at 10:30. Check me out. Make sure you subscribe to the blog. I'm telling you, go back through that blog. There's some prophetic shit in there. I'm not a prophet. Don't worry. That was for all my conservative friends. But there's some stuff in there where I'm talking about these things that are happening, are going to be happening during this midterm as things get crazier and crazier. And this incident will just kind of reinforce some people's opinion of certain things. Let's just say that. So check it out, smashingtheparty.com/links. You can go to all my places, blah, blah, blah. You're probably watching it on the right platform now. But check it out. And thanks for this. Thanks for the love. I love it. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow and we'll get it on. Peace.